So, do you have any? Did you want to show breakdown of a picture or something, or no?
Let me check it, because the problem is I don't have my project files with me right now. Let me check if we could do that. Basically, with this scene, so it's a collaboration with Yuri Hoek, who is a very talented lighting environment artist. Sorry. And I've decided to use his scene with his authorization to exercise myself to do sci-fi lighting. And my goal here was to use some of the ray traced features like the reflection, etc., but keeping it under budget, because real-time lighting and real-time ray tracing is very taxing on the GPU. So, for example, right here, my goal was to use a lot of the lights, of the artificial lights right there, to lit all the scene. So I don't have a lot of lights inside the scene. I basically have all the neons that are working and some fill lights in the middle of it. So a lot of the fill lights are only diffused light, I'd say. There are no shadows. They are very small radius. The intensity is very low, but it helps with the contrast of the scene, and it helps to push some of the shadows up that would be too dark otherwise. And this scene is one of my preferred scenes. It's one of the pieces in my portfolio that I prefer, because I managed to achieve some many of the things I wanted. And like this kind of detail here shouldn't exist, because back when I produced this image, this scene, I didn't know that you could force the transparent shaders to render after the depth of field of the camera. So right now I would know how to do it, but it's like I did that 2 years ago, and I learned a lot of stuff since 2 years ago. So I'd say this kind of example shows that you will never cease to learn. And for any juniors or beginners out there, just don't feel bad if you don't know everything. If you miss some things, like people with experience or mentors are here to help you. And I think the studios that will recruit you knows that you don't know everything, but it's something that you have to accept in the end. And the other part of the scene is this one. So there is the image that you can see there, and vice versa. And yeah, it's simply basic things. Like, for example, right here, there is a lot of green there, the green there. It's actually the reflection from the infirmary logo that is right there. And it's one of the examples that I'd like to show when you have to know how light works in real life. Like, if it's green here, it has to have some green reflection here. It's just how light works in real life. And like, I like this shot a lot from twinmirror, because it was my first time working on black skin on a video game, and I had to.
It's hard. It's different.
Yeah, I had to ask my colleagues who had darker skins to pose for me, like to study how light works on them. And I'm really happy about this shot, because the skin is looking very good, the lighting is looking very good, and it's some of the shots that I struggled with the most, because there is almost no lights on the scene right now. It's more of a, how I could say, it's like dawn, so the sun is below the horizon. There is not a lot of light, and this shot without the cinematic lighting looks very flat. We couldn't even see the character, etc. So in this kind of situation, it's there that you have to cheat, and you have to use your gut feels that you have to lit your cinematic shot to make it look better than it is without your cinematic lighting. And it's the same for every different scene. Like, for example, the light coming from here is a tiny desk lamp over there, right over there, but realistically it can't light this character up close, but in the end the shot works. So yeah, you would have to use your judgment and use your personal feelings to lit a scene. And one other advice that I can say: don't be afraid of black. Like, if you have black parts on your scene, a lot of contrast, it's okay. It's not because it's a video game that you have to see everything. Sometimes you have to, I agree, multiplayer games, etc. But if you are working on cinematics, etc., don't be afraid to have very dark shadows on your character, because in the end it's looking good, so you have to be happy about it.
So learn lighting, understand lighting, but be able to know when to break it or adjust
exactly.
it, basically,
because in the end we are working in a, how could we say that, entertainment industry.
Yeah, there's a story, there's a mood.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like when you see, for example, the best example I have is all the elevator shots in the movies. I dare you, take your camera, the better camera in the world, walk into an elevator, your scene will look like trash, because elevator lighting sucks. And why is it looking good in the movies? Because they're using huge diffuse light to make it look good. So don't be afraid to break lighting and to use cinematic techniques to help your images look better. Like, you go on YouTube and there are a lot of tutorials, there are a lot of videos that shows how some movie scenes are lit or propped, and you will see that they are cheating a lot. There is a video about the movie The Social Network, and it's breaking down all of the first shot of the movie when they are in the bar, where Mark Zuckerberg is talking to his girlfriend, and the shot is very tiny. We can see only the two characters, but there's a huge light above them. There are diffuse light everywhere, a smoke machine, etc. And it's all artificial. So it's a little bit more difficult to do this kind of stuff when you're working on video games, because the player can go everywhere. It's a 3D environment, so it can look at everywhere. But if you have the chance to work on cinematic lighting, don't hesitate to cheat. Like, for me, it's an obligation to cheat on cinematic lighting, because it's fixed. The player can't turn the camera away from the shot. So just use this advantage.